this video, we're going to take you through an introduction to the client portal. We're going to talk a little bit about how to get set up, how to use the portal and general navigation. We're going to touch on a key question, which is accessing the portal long term. And lastly, we're going to look at how to change your notification defaults for when you receive new messages about new items. Now, essentially to begin, you're probably watching this video because you've received an email that looks something like this, where a contractor or a builder has basically inviting you into the client portal. So to begin, we're going to go ahead and click Accept Invitation. And this is going to take us to this page here, where essentially we need to go ahead and sign up for it. Now, as is very common, you do have the ability to sign up either through Google Sign Up or Facebook, as you would many other sites. But for today, I'm just going to do it the old-fashioned way, and that's basically just entering in the email and a password here. Once I've done that, I'll click Sign Up, and it'll then log me right into the client portal. Now, quick note, what will also happen at the same time is you'll receive another email with a link that you can use to then basically access the client portal moving forward. So just as a quick note, definitely recommend to save that and keep it handy just for future accessing of the portal. But now that we log in, this is what it essentially looks like when you first come in. We land here on the Messages Center. And this is basically that every time that your builder or your contractor will send information or communication, this is where it's going to first land. And this is really touching on one of the key elements of the portal, where effectively here, what we're doing is we're giving you an opportunity to streamline a lot of that communication between you and your builder, your contractor, when it comes to anything from sharing documentation, selections, communication, updates, all that sort of information. So the portal, again, is really going to help streamline a lot of that communication, just keep everything in a central spot. So in this messages area, that's what we're first going to do, where you can see a variety of messages that you are, again, whoever you're working with might have sent that across. From here, you have the ability to send a message back. And we can also attach additional items or information. So sometimes whomever you're working with might need to request additional documentation, or there again might be some back and forth just as to different selections or items that might be included in the build. So that's what this little area can do. On the left-hand side, you'll also see where we can share quotes in. So whenever you get to that stage, this is where you basically have the ability to digitally accept the quote, which will then send a notification back to whomever you're working with, just to let them know you're digitally accepted and can move forward with that step. On the left-hand side further down, we also have a dedicated area where the plans can be shared across. We have document sections. So again, anytime documentation is sent across, could be pictures, could be Word docs, Excel, PDF, those sorts of information. It's all kept in here, nice and tidy. You'll also have the ability to have your change orders, your invoices, and lastly, we have our contacts area here. And this is basically just going to have the contact information in case you need to reach back out to, again, whomever you're working with. And of course, a lovely little portfolio of photos in here. Now, at this stage, we like to just quickly answer the question about, well, what happens to the portal once the work is completed? And we're very much of the opinion that you own this information. So essentially, that's just to say that once the project is done, you'll have continued access to be able to log back into your client portal to begin to see all this information. And the idea is that essentially through the entire life cycle of your project, you'll have that ability to, again, have that information stored in here. So if it might be a little bit down the road, maybe a few years later, again, at any time you can log in and access that information. And of course, with that being said, you might end up having multiple projects into the portal as well. Potentially you engage with a variety of different, again, builders or contractors who are using the client portal. So again, in here, you'll have all of your different projects eventually down the road. The last thing to touch on is to talk a little bit about how often you'll receive notifications. So for that, we'll click on the top right-hand side. This is where you can do a number of things, such as change your password, edit your profile image, change the language. But more specifically down here, this is where you can go ahead and update or change how often you receive update notifications via email here. So again, you have that information and you have that ability to change that information at any time. And so that today covers off our client portal.